Working with horses is an inherently dangerous activity and should only be done by experienced horsemen or while under the guidance of a professional. Now today I'm going to start teaching Candy. We're going to start associating the moving away from the rope with moving away from pressure from my hand. So this is one of the things that I want to open her eyes to today is learning to go from one cue to another. So when you're starting a horse under saddle, they're not going to know what a squeeze from the leg means. They're going to know your voice commands from the ground and maybe a tap with the whip behind the leg. They're going to know those things, but they will have had no experience with your leg. When you start them under saddle, you're going to give your voice command and the leg. You're going to give a little tap on the butt and the leg. And soon they're going to start associating leg with the other cue. And you can kind of move on from the initial cues and go to just the cue that you want. So we're going to start teaching her that is possible, kind of getting the elasticity in her thinking process. Oh, no. Eyes back on me. I know. She's a little frustrated because the friends are right there and she cannot be with them. Good response. So, this takes a little bit of dexterity. Don't look at me yet. I don't want her to just do it because I'm moving here, remember, because we need to be able to walk around their whole body. So I need to establish that I don't need her to move until I ask her to move, but here I am going to put some weight on her hip, and she's like, what is this? Because we had that natural, that response, good girl, of pushing into me, the muscles contracting. If you were on that side, and I'll do it on the side that you can see just now, her muscles all kind of twitched and contracted around my hand. That's her normal reaction. Little mama. When she moves, when I move, I give the negative neutral response of, I'm just going to keep standing and asking her to stand. When she stands, my pressure of asking her to stand comes off. So, again, this is a little tricky. You gotta have a little dexterity here. No, see, negative neutral response. I'm just going to go with her until we stand. And now I'm just going to move her with the rope and a little click so that I can show you what I want to show you about the twitching on the side. Good girl. Don't forget to tell them when they've done a good job because we want to enforce the behavior we want. We want to ignore the behavior we don't. And we need to correct the behavior we think is dangerous. Like when she pawed, I backed her up and I said, let's do something else. So, she's so smart. She's like, I see the rope in your hand. I'm going to move, but we need to wait because we're trying to teach her something specific today. So I'm going to push right here. See the twitching? And then I'm not pulling my hand away necessarily. I'm letting her move away from the hand. So she naturally releases the pressure from my hand. And she's licking and chewing. She's thinking this is great. And the more we do this, kind of the more desensitized she's going to get, the more her muscles are going to get used to being talked to like this. And I always do the new command first. So if I was riding, it's legs, then click, legs, then tap. Here it's hands, then rope. To get them to see that like you won't need the second command if you move off the first one. Everything about this is building. So what I want to do today is I think I can teach her to move away from the hind end today. And I want to start asking her to move away from the belly. We're going to see if we can get there. I'm telling you that's my goal because we may accomplish it, we may not. And I just want to let you know that that's what I'm going for. But you don't always get what you want in a training session. Sometimes it's just not possible for them. I'm going to put your head here. That's where I want it. Good girl. And she's really keen. She knows that I'm going to ask her something, so she's ready, but I'm teaching her she's got to just let me be here sometimes. So, touching with the hand. She's shifted her weight. That was good, and then I swung it once and she moved it. Did you see? And you can rewind to look. When my hand went on, she shifted to that other leg, which is step one is they have to shift and then they cross. She's being so good. She's being so good. She's learning. Like I can see the thoughts happening. So she also needs to know that this is not a cue to move. This is your cue to move. Good girl. Oh, I surprised her. Good girl. Now, like I showed in the first session, like I could really push on her, and she would push back into me so much that she would have to come in my direction when I removed my pressure on her. You're going to teach them in this how much pressure you're going to put on them to ask them for a cue. Don't give them just like a feather light touch, because they're going to become so sensitive that the wind could blow and they're going to think you're cueing them. Also, don't put more pressure on them than you feel comfortable putting on every single day. I just like to push on them kind of with the pressure I would push on a door that I'd knocked on but not gotten a response, and I'm kind of pushing open to see if somebody's in there or not. That's the type of pressure I use. I don't know how many pounds of pressure that is, but that's what I feel comfortable putting on a horse. I don't think they're going to accidentally be cued with that, and also I'm not going to get tired pushing these horses around. She's thinking. What's she thinking? Can you pay attention to me? Thank you. Thank you. I like it when your attention's on me. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So I'm just going to put myself in the same position again when she does that step I didn't ask for. And I am doing the voice command. I always do the voice command. It's like muscle memory to me. Whoa. Whoa. Putting my hands starting on the shoulder, I've found helps them to not move. Also, that just counteracting of the way she would be turning. She wanted to turn to the right, I put her head to the left. She's now starting to ask questions, right? That's the next logical step for a horse. And that's good. I'm glad she is, because sometimes she's going to get stuck, and the only way she's going to get it is if she asks questions and gets a little creative. But I don't need her to be creative right now, because she's already got it. I'm trying really hard to not click. That was very close. Good girl. Good girl. Move that again. Good girl. That was a really light touch, and she moved. See that? Licky chewing. She got through a little anxiety moment of what am I supposed to do, and we're back to work. I'm going to do it one more time because she's being really good, and you don't want to fry them. I just want to make sure we've got it that well on both sides. Stand here. I'm not asking her to do anything. Good girl. Good girl. All right, now I'm going to give her a little walk, reset. And I like to have a little reset cue with the horses that says, okay, take a deep breath. The moment of intense thinking is over. I'm not even asking her to lead nice. I'm just asking her to kind of come in some circles with me. Let go of that last moment. We're doing something that you're really good at. It's confidently good at. Girl. And now I'm just going to stand here with her for probably 10 seconds before I'm going to see if with the rope and some pressure I can ask her to move away from me from the side. If we're not there, I'm going to have to take more steps to show it to her and explain to her, and that's fine. I just want to see another baseline of where we are. Can we take moving away from the pressure on the back end and move it to the middle? Can we step sideways? Can we make that mental leap? If not, I'm going to start teaching her how to move the shoulder. Good girl. So that was mostly backwards, but it was a little bit away from me, and I'm happy with that. When you're starting, happy with anything. So I'm really happy she moved away instead of doing what she did last time, which was pushing into me. Good girl. That was very good. I'm going to come to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing. It might help her to be up against this wall. So if, you know, if the universe puts an opportunity in your hand, take it. I'll push where my leg would go in the saddle. Good girl. You see that cross in her front legs? That was so smart. That was so smart. So knowing that that's helping her, the next few times I do this, I'm going to set her up to be relatively flush with the back wall, so it just makes sense for her to step only away and not backwards. Let's do a little setup because you're so good at leading. Do a little setup. Get yourself nice and square. That's a little funny square. That's pretty close to square. That's square for our purposes. Good girl. Now she's anticipating I'm going to ask her something, so I'm just going to kind of like screw around over here for a second so she doesn't, so she says, oh, she's not always going to ask me something when she's standing there. Hand on the side, a little push. And then hand on the neck to say, can you move that? Oh, good girl. Good girl. It's not perfect, but it's transferring. The idea of move away from pressure is transferring to her. She's starting to understand. She's not just pushing into me, and that is huge. That is what we're going to have to build on for the rest of this horse's riding career. Is it the pressure of a bit? Is it the pressure of a bitless bridle? Is it the pressure of the leg? Everything is built on pressure and release with the way that we ride today. So this is the beginning. This is how you make a good riding horse. They really have to understand this. Noticing she's always going back. If putting my hand a little further back is going to help. She doesn't really understand. Good girl. That's all it has to be, 1 foot. Square up for me. Soon she's going to be doing perfect side passes. But right now, this is all I want to start with. I'm very pleased with it. Good girl. I'm just going to correct at the end with my hand to make sure she doesn't turn to me to show her it's different than the other one. Good girl. Little square. You're being very silly. She's like, look, I did put my foot in the track of the other one. All right, I lied. We're going to do it one more time because that was really good. I'm giving her some praise for it. I want to see if she can really kind of get it. If she starts making any sort of seems like she's frustrated, we're going to quit, but she's still with me. Her eye is still pretty soft. Whoa. Good girl. I'm not asking. And now I'm asking. Good girl. You see that front foot? And the back foot. That was perfect, so we're going to end on that. I'm going to give her a little walkabout. And just show her she's such a good girl. That was so smart. And always, 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 always end on the good note. If you can't get the good note, which sometimes it just happens, end on something they're really good at. Which is why she just goes for a little walk. Your horse might go for a little walk. Your horse might do a little moving the hind end away from you, or if it's under saddle, a little loose rein trot. Something they're good at so they feel confident at the end of their session. That was so good, Miss Candy.